The governing party today called a briefing to report back on its weekend National Executive Committee meeting, a very important NEC because it comes just a month before the party gathers at Nasrec here in Johannesburg to have their elective conference. There was a lot to talk about, and much was said about renewing the ANC in leadership and, of course, in finances as well. But Treasurer and Acting Secretary-General Pule Letshwiti-Jones didn't have a lot to say on what the President told the meeting, reportedly, about what happened on his Pule farm in February 2020. And of course, it's a really big week for the Pule issue because on Thursday, the Independent Parliamentary Probe is due to release its report into the matter. eNCA's Pule Letshwiti-Jones was at the ANC briefing and he joins us now. Pule, thank you so much for chatting to us. So we heard that Pule was discussed in full behind closed doors.
Yeah.
How much did the ANC actually say about it today?
They're not saying anything.
A very sensitive week. Yeah.
They're not saying anything. They're just saying, look, guys, it's confidential. We're not saying anything for now. What happened behind closed doors will remain behind closed doors. But as far as we understand is that the Integrity Committee did table a couple of reports during the National Executive Committee meeting this past weekend. Pule was not part of the reports, but it comes across as though some NEC members were inquisitive. The National Executive Committee members of the ANC did ask about the progression of Pule and in terms of accountability, what would happen. And one believes that, of course, when you're engaging with sources and members of the ANC, that's the message that's coming. It's views that they did question Pule and what was happening behind it. But, the ANC's Treasurer General, Pule Letshwiti-Jones, was not saying anything at the briefing. He said, this is strictly confidential. We can say that the Integrity Committee is still looking into it. But, of course, we understand that the President may be off the hook for now. But just like you rightfully said, on Thursday, that parliamentary probe, which was supposed to be concluded by Thursday, will be quite important, which is led by retired Chief Justice, who is looking into that reports to see, or the investigation as well, to see whether the President was guilty in regards to the Pule.
And that could lead to an impeachment process.
Yeah, definitely, it could. And it comes just, a few weeks before the ANC's National Elective Conference as well. So it could come back to bite the ANC's number one, being Cyril Ramaphosa, who's currently in Bali as we speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a listen to what Pule Letshwiti-Jones had to say.
On the issue that affects the President, the Integrity Commission is still working on those matters, so they have not sent a report to us, except that a draft report was leaked in the media, but there's no report that has come to the ANC because they are not ready yet.
And I mean, it's interesting to see Pule Letshwiti-Jones, bearing in mind there's so much talk that he could be the favourite to be the second in command in the ANC. Seems to be favoured across the board, but he's being very careful to toe the party line and saying, hey, I'm not part of anyone's slate.
Yeah.
I would serve under anyone who the ANC votes in.
Yeah, it's all the process of consolidating power for your numbers as well and ensuring that you can emerge victorious come the ANC's National Elective Conference, particularly with the fact that the quality of branch members of the party has been in question for quite some time. In fact, the reputation of the ANC's work as well has been in question for some while right now. Did you remember just on the sidelines before the NEC's meeting was in full swing, NEC member Nomvula Mkonyane criticized the ANC, saying it was the weakest in the ANC history as well. And the President did say in his closing remarks at the NEC meeting to say the NEC has had its shortcomings and failures as well. However, it has progressed during some time in terms of implementing some of their policy framework policies as well from the organization. But we understand that there are contrasting views within the organization. Like I've just said, the likes of Mkonyane disagree that the NEC has done very well in terms of their work. But you have the likes of the coordinator in the SGO office, Secretary General Office, Gwen Ramokgopa, who believe that the NEC has done quite well, remarkably so in the past 5 years as well. So you get a sense that there is two groupings as well within the ANC with different views as well. But let's just take a listen to what Ramokgopa had to say.
We have made progress. I think we cannot undermine the factor of a major pandemic, which was very disruptive, not only in our country but also globally. Other internal problems like the floods and also the unrest. But most definitely there is, as we've said in our press statement, we have noted progress. We have also expanded public works for young people. More than around 1 million young people have been absorbed, including in the schools as teacher assistants. So we have looked at this dark cloud of COVID. However, these are some of the silver linings that we must consolidate.
Yeah, as you say, quite an interesting and different message to what Nomvula Mokonyane said. It was interesting what the President said over the weekend, that he's concerned about coalition politics.
Yeah.
Because we have seen so many fractured developments in particularly our big metros. You, I know, are keeping an eye on what's been going on in the Gauteng metros. The development today with Action SA is saying, look, we will continue to vote to keep the ANC out of power in the Ekurhuleni metro. But we are out when it comes to being part of the DA's multi-party coalition in that metro. Is that a sign that they think the DA coalition is not working properly and they want to distance themselves now?
It definitely probably also could be a sign that talks are not quite good at national level. This is not the first time Action SA has come out to say this. You remember just a few months ago they held a similar press briefing to say they will not be supporting the DA again in the city of Johannesburg. We're now seeing a mirror reflex from Action SA in Ekurhuleni now, but with the justification that they believe that probably Tanya Campbell isn't the suitable candidate for that mayoral position in Ekurhuleni. If I stand to be corrected, I heard one of the Action SA members today saying that this is one particular member of the DA, Tanya Campbell, who has not visited townships such as Tsakane in Ekurhuleni for quite some time. And therefore they believe that she's not a suitable candidate. But as well, one has to look at the dynamics and the numbers as well. Essentially what this means is that come in 6 months' time, which is probably next year around April, and a motion is to be tabled against Tanya Campbell, she will not be safe because she would not have the numbers that favour her to keep her safe for that particular position.
Unless, of course, and this is what Michael Beaumont of Action SA was saying, is that if we see the DA coalition doing the right things for the people, we will continue to support them. But if party politics comes into it, then they feel they have more power in opposition. It's a very interesting development. Thank you so much for updating us on both those issues. eNCA's Pule Letshwiti-Jones.